It's JVceo, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm back with another banger. What we're going to do is another segment of JVceo Answers. You ask, I answer. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and make sure you comment. Right, sorry, I got confused. Right, this is from Arif6344, Arif H6344. So he wants to know, what investments would you recommend to begin with and why? And also general information on investments and assets you should acquire. And also general information on investments and assets you should acquire to accumulate and grow wealth. I think we all understand the question. I think there was probably a typo there. Imagine a 9-to-5, in bracket, imagine a 9-to-5 individual asking. And then he asked another question in terms of how to use credit to your advantage and make money using credit. Brief explanation of good credit versus bad credit. This is a really good one, so we're going to get into it. And then there's one more question from someone else that I want to address later on in the video. And this one is from Daryl Egerton. I turned 21 I turned 21 not that long ago. I'm going to be made redundant soon, but I've got 30k in the bank. I want to start making my money work for me. If you were starting from fresh, knowing what you know now, what would you do? Great question, Daryl. Let's start with Daryl's, and then we sort of transition into the other one, because I think they're quite similar questions. If I'm honest with you, Daryl, if I was starting today, I'll do everything exactly the same way. Probably the only thing I'll do is, turning 21 with 30k in savings is, bro, that's very good. That is very good. Look around your circle, right? There's not a lot of people that could probably say they're turning 21 with 30k in the bank. And it's quite interesting to probably get a take on what you do, in terms of like what you do for work and so on and so forth. Because firstly, that would probably motivate other people your age. But secondly, that would help determine what sort of directions you go. If you hit me up now and you said, look, I don't have a job, then again, you know, different opportunities would be presented to you. In your case, like I said, I'll probably do everything the same as what I've done. I'll probably actually tell a lie. Now knowing what I know, I probably would adopt a lot more of the BRR strategy when it comes to property investment. Because then that way, rather than just sinking money into the properties that I'm purchasing and then having to raise more money for new purchases, I would use the BRR strategy. For those of you that don't know what that is, BRR is buy, rehab, refinance and rent. That's a way that you purchase a property that needs work, you do the work on it, obviously with the additional investment that you make into that property, you then refinance that property at the new value, and then use that new finance to pay off your old bridging loan and then take the profits in between, if that makes any sense. So that's how BRR works. An example being, you could invest £30,000 into a property on a BRR deal. Let's say you might end up pulling back out 22,000 or even 30,000, who knows? Depending on the profit margin, you might end up pulling out quite a lot of money back out of that deal. So if I knew this back then, I probably would have adopted that a lot more, because then that would have meant that I would have kept recycling my money. I probably would have bought a lot more properties. That's one thing I would have definitely done. Just to go back to the question, just to make sure that I am on track with it, and start making, in terms of, again, he said, might be made redundant soon, you got 30k in the bank and you want to start making your money work for you. So that's one angle in terms of property. But in relation to your question, that might be tricky if you're being made redundant, because then how are you going to be able to provide a salary to back up those property purchases? So what I'd probably look at would be monetizing your skill. Start to look within yourself. You definitely have a skill. An example being myself. I've got a skill. I'm a great communicator, right? And I have a great knowledge with regards to the legal side of things, but also with regards to just being able to manage things at a higher level. So then that gave birth to Jay Snow. Jay Snow, part of my skills are, obviously I'm pretty good at business, I'm pretty good at property, I'm pretty good at being able to motivate people, being able to drive people, set targets, smash targets, push people further than they could ever actually go on their own. So I set up Jay Snow, which essentially speaking is a coaching, consultancy and personal development company. So that's my skill, and that's how I've monetized it. So you have to look at your skills, see what skills you have and see how you can monetize it. What else? I was gonna say something else on this point, but I can't remember it. Another thing for you to do would definitely be potentially start thinking of, actually that's all linked to monetizing your skill. That's it. I think that's it. I think I've answered enough on that question. But also, don't be complacent. If you're being made redundant and you're not ready to move into being quote unquote self-employed, start thinking of potentially applying for another job, flipping your skills into a bigger role. Start thinking about that as well. But like I said, at the start, 21, 30 bags, you're doing great. So keep going. Now, back to the original question, or the first question from Arif. What investments would you recommend to begin with, and why? Also, general information on investments and assets that to grow wealth. When it comes to growing wealth, right? You want certain things. You want things that are obviously either cash flowing or have a very good sort of capital growth. Those are the two key things when it comes to growing wealth. So in terms of investments, if I'm honest with you, I'm not rewriting the book, or I'm not reinventing the wheel. It's about doing what's already there and what's proven to work. So it's really the property, it's really the stocks, is really being able to invest in businesses, because that way you have some real ownership behind you. So it's property, is stocks, is businesses. Those are three areas that I'm into myself. Mostly property and mostly business. With the stock, I dabble in and out of it, but I'll probably be doing a lot more of that in the new year, or this year actually, because it is a new year already. So that's that for me. So like I said, don't try and reinvent the wheel. Just take what's there already, what's working, and go for it. And I'm answering this as though I'm imagining someone doing a 9-to-5. It's very possible. You know, when I started buying properties, I was working a 9-to-5. All I was doing, I cut my expenses and I was saving. I'll be honest with you, I have a tactic that I use when I was working 9-to-5. I would save 70 to 80% of my income. And then you would think, hold on, how do you actually end up living? What do you live on? Let's say I'm getting paid £1,000. I would save around £700 to £800. And let's say my monthly bill is £500. So now I've only got £200 left from my income. That means I have a deficit of £300. I feel like when you do that, it forces your brain to get creative. Your brain would start to think, how else can I make more money? And I think once you put your back against the wall and your brain gets creative, that's when you start finding new business opportunities and so on and so forth. And you realize that, hold on, you don't need more than 20% of your earned income to live on. You could actually create more opportunities elsewhere to balance out your monthly expenditure. So that's that. But I definitely think, I mean, I have a lot of friends that work 9-to-5s and they're all getting properties. I definitely think it's very possible. In fact, you know, if you've watched my previous video, is entrepreneurship overrated? I'm going to link it up here. I think that people that work a 9-to-5 are probably on the wider scale more successful than actual entrepreneurs, because it's difficult being an entrepreneur, and a lot of businesses do fail in like that sort of, in the first sort of 5 years. So that's that in terms of that question. Now onto your second question, and then we can wrap up this video. You've said also question 2. How do you use your how to use credit to your advantage and make money using credit? In terms of making money using credit, I'll give you an example. Property is making money using credit, because you have good credit, you're able to use leverage from the bank. So you're able to put up £50,000 and the bank will give you an extra £150,000, and you buy £200,000 worth of properties. You're making money using the bank's money. Whereas if you didn't have good credit, you'd only have £50,000 to play with. So let's say that portfolio in total increased, let's say 10%. On you using only £50,000 of your own money, you would have made £5,000 in terms of that 10% increment. However, adding that to the bank's money and having £200,000 in total, you would have made £20,000. So can you see how credit has taken you from £5,000 in increased capital gain to £20,000 in increased capital gain? That's the advantage of having good credit. I'll give you another example in terms of using credit to make money. And I'll give a shout out to YB's, my partner. He sells watches. Some of you may already know him. So Bella put something up on Snap the other day. If you have good credit, you could do things like You could get a watch, for example, on a low interest. I don't recommend that, by the way. I would say try and purchase it outright, but that's not a bad idea. I would say try and purchase it outright, but again, it's all dependent on your circumstances. I'm not going to tell you how to manage your finances. But anyways, you could get a watch on an interest, maybe a very low interest, sell the watch for a profit or whatever, or you break even, and then you use that money into investing in a business of your choice. So let's say now you don't really have £20,000 to your name, but you have good credit, and you could put down maybe a 10% deposit. You could go finance a £20,000 watch, pay a very low interest on it, and then use that £20,000 or sell the watch for £20,000 and use that money to actually start a business that will give you a lot more profit, and you can pay back that watch early without paying much interest on it, and so on and so forth. So that's how you can use credit to make money. And in terms of how to use credit to your advantage, I've just answered that. How to use credit to make money, I've just answered that. And a brief explanation of good debt and bad debt. So for me, a good debt is a debt that helps you create more wealth, in my opinion, or helps you have a better quality of life. So an example being, if I go and finance a treadmill, for example, because maybe I live in a very cold area, I've got bad knees, I'm not able to run. In my opinion, even though that doesn't make me money, I think that's good debt, because that keeps me in shape, that keeps me healthy, that keeps me out of the hospital, that keeps my brain active. So I think that's a good debt. A bad debt, however, is using Klarna to finance clothes, for example, or let's say using your credit card to purchase a whole bunch of alcohol in a club, maybe spend a few hundreds of thousands. That's bad debt. So that's really it in a nutshell. Good debt helps you make money or helps you live healthy. Bad debt has absolutely no benefit to you in any way, shape, or form in terms of making money or staying in good health. Hope this answers all your questions, guys. I love these segments, man. I absolutely love these segments, and I'm having fun with it. JVceo Answers always. You ask, I answer. So make sure you send your questions in, and thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share the channel, because we're headed to 10,000 subscribers. Until next time.